Uh,
Yeah, hi guys, good morning. Okay, so Pauli, Roshan, Abhi, okay. So guys, good morning. Thanks for being on time. This side Pratiksha from CEDLEARN, and today you guys have a hackathon event. Okay, and Miss Sai Lakshmi she will take. Okay, and like guys, if you have anything in your mind, any questions, any doubt, okay, please don't hesitate to ask to her. She is very super. She is very expert. Anything is there, so we can just clarify with her. Okay, guys. Guys, are you there? Hello.
Yes, we are there.
Okay, nobody's speaking, so that's not okay. I thought is anybody is there or not. Okay, no worries. So, so like within some time, within a 1 minute, we will start our event. Okay. So like if anything is there, like any questions, any doubt, you can ask. And she's very expert. She is the data scientist, and right now she's working as a machine learning engineer. Okay, and like it's just like the AI also. So like future. What is the data analysis, what is the data science, how it will work, what kind of project you need to do, you can ask to her and you can just clarify all the things. So like she's learning engineer with 2+ year of experience in machine learning and AI. Okay, working experience is building deep learning model for her. Yeah. So like it is innovative and extremely passionate machine learning engineer. She is committed to contribute to development of the responsible AI solution, good at communication and presentation skill, and passionate to learn about the new technologies. Okay, so she has a 2+year of experience in AI. Okay, and like she is working as a like right now machine learning engineer. Okay, so she is very expert. Anything is there in mind, you can just clarify with her. So she has done some kind of certification. She did the Google Cloud certificate professional machine learning engineer. Also she has done Google Cloud certificate professional cloud architect. Fundamental of she has done the certificate of like fundamentals of accelerated computing with CUDA Python, and also Google Cloud certificate associate cloud engineer. Okay, these are the certificates she has done. Okay, and right now she's working as machine learning engineering. Yes.
Currently working as a GIS analyst. It is about mapping method. Switching into data analysis. Last 3 months, 2 months, September I started this course. And it's my career computer science, data analysis. Anyone?
I also work as a GIS analyst in the government technology. So, almost last 4.5 months, like, I'm taking training on this program. So, like, and regarding the expectation, I know you will tell whatever is needed, but like, for people who are from non-tech background, and like, if possible, like, how can I shift from GIS to the field of data analyst, and like, what are the scope of like data analyst in field of GIS? Like, I would like to know that.
Anyone? So yeah, do you know difference between the data scientist and data analyst and data engineering? How many of you want to be a data analyst or data scientist or data engineer? So mostly are into data analyst. Okay. Now I'll check the difference between the three. Like data analyst part is like what data scientist will do is he'll handle from data processing to data pre-processing to deployment itself. In data scientist also there are too many categories like machine learning engineer, deep learning engineer, NLP engineer. In order to get into this,
Ma'am, your voice is not audible.
in this data science domain also, like in order to become the data scientist, we need to know this machine learning, deep learning, natural language processing, and computer vision, and whatnot. Now the booming technologies like LLMs, large language models, where the Meta is having Llama and this Google is having BART, and so many are coming in. There will be categories in that. Like if you want to be a traditional data science, you should become a machine learning engineer. From that, like we'll be learning this deep learning. In that deep learning also two categories are there. If you are dealing with the images, it comes under the computer vision. If you are dealing with the text, where the llama and every chatbot is working on, it is natural language processing. In that gen ai has came in, and from that the llms are in. Fun, if you want to learn this llms and all, in order to learn this from the scratch, we have to start from the machine learning. From that, then deep learning, and then this natural language processing and all. So coming to this data analytics part, first of all, there will be a data set. For what, like it will be a raw data. Like the data set contains the huge data where they're in, like in order to pass to the model or whatever the model we works on, like linear regression or random forest. For that, we need some data pre-processing. Like we need to arrange the data in a clean way, and we should make sure that there will be no missing values, and there should not be the data should not be in an imbalanced way, right? That's where the data analytics part comes in. Like the data analyst will do key, like he'll learn some dashboards like Tableau and this Power BI and all, and he'll make some changes in the data, and he'll give the data to the data scientist, where it should be ready for the model to pass in, right? Where the data analyst should do, like it's not the words that simply I'm telling in, but there'll be lots of data coming in. From that, there'll be so many models or techniques will be there. From there, like we need to get into some cleaning data. So yeah, like what I'm saying is the data scientist part is simple because wherever now the chat GPT is there and not that simple, but yeah, like the chat GPT is there everywhere we are coding in, like wherever we Google it, like the code comes in. But the data analytics part, where we need to clean the data, which is very fresh, in order to in terms of example, if the healthcare data is there, we should not put that data in ChatGPT and directly tell him that we need some clean data from it. There are so many techniques and there are so many methods to be driving, and we need to do it in our person way. That is what the data analyst do. Like he'll clean the data and he'll there is a EDA process where the exploratory data analysis, where we'll use some visualization tools and understand the data, and we'll clean the data and pass into the machine learning engineer so that he'll process it and pass to the model. Accordingly the accuracy will get, and from there like we'll be getting into some data engineer role where he'll deploys and where he'll come to know about the cloud and everything. That's where I have worked in two startups where there is a no data engineers and data analysts. It depends on the company. Like if you're completely sticking to data scientist, only I'm doing this, only I will model the model, like only I will be doing the modeling. That's not the thing. If you're into startups or anything, you have to do everything from the data analyst part to data engineer, where you're capable of doing some data pre-processing, the deployment itself. For the deployment, we came into this cloud, GCP and AWS. In order to deploy the model, what we have completely done by the data scientist, we need to know about the cloud as well. This GCP, AWS, and Azure. For that, we should also like we should in the prerequisites, like we should know about the cloud as well. Whether what are the services where you can develop and where you can deploy the things. What the data engineer will do means like he'll take the data and he'll deploy the data in order to, like according to the client requirement, he'll deploy the data in the GCP, AWS, or somehow. That's the difference between this data analyst and data scientist and this data engineer. In the data scientist itself, there are so many categories, like I said: machine learning engineer, deep learning engineer, NLP engineer, computer vision. If you are interested towards the images and all, you can go to the computer vision engineer. If you are interested towards this LLMs and all, you can step into this NLP engineer. Combinedly all together comes under the data scientist. So what your goals are to, like, may I know like what you want to become now? First of all, you need to have a clarity about like where I'm going through. It's a vast and it's like a ocean. Like we can't do all the things in a one go, right? In order to go to the analytics, like we need to learn about this visualization tools and as well as this data science part and this pre-processing part, and there are lots of techniques will be there. In order to get into this data engineer, we need to know about the cloud and all, the deployment part and the PySpark, and the language we use in the data engineer as in it's a PySpark and SQL, and this we need to know about this Python as well. In order to get in this data scientist, all commonly we have to do, where the expectations and the package will be more as well. So what are your goals have been? It's how many months you have been in this data analytics or a data science, and what you have learned till now? What is the procedure and what are the prerequisites for it? You know all about it? Speak out, no?
మాట్లాడండి ఇందులో నేర్చుకోరు కదా
Analytics part, we know. Like,
Means it's
We learned in data analyst like Python and SQL and Power BI. Machine learning is still pending for me. I'm pursuing the data scientist course.
data
Scientist.
scientist. Okay. So how
So
many
is
are?
it possible to enter data science as a fresher, like no experience?
Yes, I have entered this domain as a fresher. Like I haven't joined any institutions or anything. Just I have gone through some. This Andrew NG. If you don't know about him, like you're not into completely machine learning or deep data science. He's a very good instructor or some. He's a very good instructor. Like where he'll let us know like about the machine learning, deep learning, and all. Like his courses are in Udemy. We don't need to, like, I'm not saying we don't need to join. If we have consistency, we can learn by ourselves. Like we can, by using this Udemy courses and Coursera courses. That's how I learned. In my final year of my BTech, I have learned this machine learning by seeing this Andrew MG courses through Udemy and the Coursera itself. Like I'm not saying we don't need to join any institution, but through consistency we can achieve it. Like daily we have to progress it. Like daily we have to code something, and through Kaggle there are so many lots of data sets are there, and we have to practice them. And we through this Udemy courses and all, like I'm not saying that you have to do that also, but I have got into this domain like this. Like consistently have done few of the courses, not few of the courses, many of the courses in Coursera and Udemy and this A Cloud Guru platform. And later on, I have started giving the interviews. When you started giving the interviews, you like it will give you the confidence. Like I'm ready for this or not. Like there are lots of coming, lots of questions coming in which are new to you. Like it's like a ocean, like I said. Like it's not subject. It's not a complete book. Like there are lots of knowledge will be coming from the other side. Like even though like we'll try different data set in Kaggle, if you get into some real time order into companies and all, like there will be a other data set which you're not dealing with. That's how you have to be ready for it. So I'm not saying ki, like I have completely gained knowledge from this Udemy courses and Coursera, but yeah, like as soon as I got into this machine learning engineer position, that's how I have learned many things. Like first of all, you need to be have a prerequisite like what is what definition for everything, every techniques you have known means like in the interviews you are able to crack. Later on, the different data will come in. That's how the learning starts in data science itself, like through courses or through data set through Kaggle. In Kaggle there are lots of competitions will be there, and through lots of solving problems only you'll get to know like different techniques are came in, like from what is what. Like we need continuous practice. Even though we practice 1,000 data set in the Kaggle, like if you step into the real time world, the scenario will be completely different, where you will deal with the some other data and where the techniques come in. As like I said, like it is a booming technology. Day by day it is growing. Like before last year, the Chat GPT has come in. Later on, the Google has released the Bard, which is not completely good as good as the ChatGPT, but yeah, like they have tried it. Later, the Meta has came in with the Llama chart or somehow. Later on, the Perplexity has came in, which is better than those. Later than this HTO.ai came in, and also this Mistel has came in, who beat the Llama and Mistel. Day before itself, the Zephyr has came in. Like day by day, like we need to uh, get the knowledge from the traditional data science itself, and also we need to update ourselves, like what is happening and what we should use and what should not. Like because of the advertisement and because of this more commercial cases, GPT has came in, and many people are using it. Than GPT, there are so many good tools and so many good charts where we can perform like better than Chat GPT. We should came to know that. We should also know about it, right? Like Perplexity and the Mistel, which performs better than Chat GPT, but people are not aware of it. If you are into this data science, like simultaneously by learning this data science, machine learning and deep learning, we should also read some magazines or read some articles regarding the data science. We'll come to know about it, and updation should happen. It's not like I have learned machine learning. It's not like I have a knowledge on deep learning. No, you are not. Like it's a continuous process. You have to learn and you have to update yourself in this in order to come to this domain. It's not like the learning will not stop here. That's how it should be. So, any questions you have? So, first of all, you need like you want to have some clarity whether I am a data analyst or a data engineer or a data scientist or machine learning engineer or some. If you are like I said, like if you are interested in this images fall apart, like computer vision engineer, NLP engineer. First of all, you need to know the difference between this. In order to get into these multinational companies, there will be no work, and like if you want to become this data scientist, first of all you need to prepare for the startups where you will work there for 5 to 6 years, and then you will get to know what is what and so many techniques, and through learning, through practice only, through solving problems only, you will get to know what is data science. Not by using, like, not by watching some YouTube videos, or not that kind. You have to solve, you have to keep on practicing, you have to keep on figuring out what the new data set came in and what is what and all. You
When we
know,
upgrade, like first we go into the data analysis, then we can upgrade like a data science.
no, when you're getting to some company as a data analyst, they'll give some data analyst role only. Why they'll give some data scientist role to you,
No,
which are not
after
aware of
that,
it.
after getting that those experience, then we upgrade into the data science.
It completely depends on the individual. Like I said, like you are entering into some startup as a data analyst, you'll be particularly in that domain only, you'll be solving that kind of problems only. There will be no time for you to get into some data scientist domain, which is very vast. If you want to become, make a picture clear about it and go for it. There'll be no extra. It is not the upgrade version, it's a completely different domain. You're saying, like, you're asking me, like, can full stack developer can be a testing part, it can do a testing part and all. Like, it's completely different. Whatever the data analyst is doing is different from the data scientist. So I have joined the Predator Technology as a data scientist, but because it is startup, I need to take up the responsibility of this data analyst as well and the data engineer as well. Where from data pre-processing to deployment. If it is good for you, like if you get that type of companies, it is good for you. Like you can be in a multiple roles and you can be get exposure to many things. But in many companies, if you are into like a data analyst or a data scientist, they'll give that work only, right? You can there is if the company is like this, like Predator Technologies, like a startup, there'll be no separate data analyst or data engineer, right? That's where we have get into some exposure to these also. Mostly companies hire for that particular role and depends on the project. So there'll be no time for you to exposure to get exposure in this data scientist and data engineer. If you are make a picture clear about it, what you want to become, so that you'll get to know the opportunities and what is there and what is not. Data analyst is completely different from data scientist. Data scientist is completely different from the data engineer. In data scientist also there will be so many roles, like I said. So it's been how many months you are learning this data analytics? Is there any syllabus for it or index? What have you learned till now? Like, yeah, what is there, like, till where you came and what you have learned till now? It's been how many months?
Different batches.
Different batches.
Different batches.
Acha. Total the course is of how many months? In these 4 months, they'll only teach like these are the prerequisites for it. These are this and these are this. But you have to learn from the different data sets, and you have to, by practice only, we'll get into this. Like if we learn a scooty or somehow in our village, we can't drive in the cities, right? That needs practice. That needs guts to drive in the cities. It's not like the. It's not like the, like what I'm saying is it's not like the thing like what happens in our village. There'll be no traffic and all. Through practice only. If you learning the car, we can learn in a this complete clean ground. But if you come into this real time picture, or if you come into this traffic, it's not the scenario, right? We need to continuously change the gears and we need to continuously do it. That's how we learn the data science as well. Like it is not the picture as you learn in this videos by seeing videos and all. It's completely different if you come into or get into some real time scenarios. Like you will not deal with the same data as you practiced. That's how the learning should be here. So learn as much as, like, learn some go to Kaggle every day, take some new data set, try to solve it. If you have any doubts, like Google is there, GPT is there, like some of the will everything will be there in the Google. Like no need to ask anything. That's how I learned as well. Take the new data set and Kaggle, there will be a competitions will be there. Go and participate in it. That's how your leaderboard will be there and there will be competition over there. So do you have a clear picture about what you want to become now? Do you have any questions? If you can ask. So you have gone through the data set that I have given, no?
No, they don't.
Have it till now. Acha. So may I know like what are the data set you have came till now? Like what are the data set you have solved and how like you solved it? What are the different data sets you have solved till now?
Health domain related one.
It's been already 3 months or 2 months, right? Like you could have solved 30 to 40 data set at least. That's how you learn this. That's how it should be. Learning means. Then how you will become this data scientist, data analyst, and data engineer. That's what like even if you're a professional, even if you're a student, make like proper schedule for it. Like sit down for 1 2 hours per day at least. That's how you'll crack the interviews. Like it should not be like it will not be like one technical round or something. Like let you know my experience. Like as a fresher, I have got into this machine learning domain. As a fresher only, they have given some assignment for me, which is regarding this Python programming, SQL programming, and whatnot, DBMS, everything. Like just I'm passed out of the BTech, right? Like they are expecting more from DBMS or software engineering or whatnot. After this assignment got cleared, there is a technical round one where it will be it consists of machine learning questions, everything. Because of machine learning engineer role, they have asked me the machine learning kind of questions there. If we pass that interview, it should not be like it will be for a 1 hour, 1.5 hour continuously. That's how vast the syllabus is in that. The technical round one happened with 1.5 hour, and later if you got qualified to as a fresher only these many rounds. Like later if you got cleared, we'll get call and we'll be into technical round two, where you will be asking about the data structures and all. And later this machine learning, it will not stick to the machine learning itself. Now the deep learning, NLP, and this computer vision as well. Later on, if you got cleared that, there will be technical round two, which lasts for 1 hour again. Then they'll come to know like you are capable for it. That's how the interviews are. Initially, I got cleared the three technical rounds. Later on, the managerial round will be there. It's not the managerial, again the technical. Later on, I got into this quantify analytics. There is a 4 months of internship is there, where they'll assassinate or where they'll give some per day there is a project. Means in 4 months we have almost cleared like 20 to 30 products on the go. And depending on the score they have given, the mentors are given, then only we'll get into this full time as a machine learning engineer. It's not the 1 day or 1 night progress. It took 1.5 year. It takes 1.5 year. It takes 1 year for it. It's not that easy to get into this data analyst or data scientist or a machine learning engineer. Later, I got clear this 4 months of internship. Then I am into this machine learning engineer role. I have worked there for 2.5 years. Later, I wanted to. It is in Bangalore. I wanted to be in the Hyderabad itself. That's why I have started. Then I came to know like it got a vast difference from where I have been the last 2 years. By giving couple of interviews and not couple of many of the interviews, I've given 10 to 12 interviews, like which is of 3 4 rounds, which each round consists of 1 hour. Then only we'll get into this data scientist and data analyst. It's not that easy to, if at all, I'm not saying that other roles are easy, but in order to get into this, like you should be a hard worker and smart work as well. You should do both. You can't say like always ChatGPT is there. We can do everything. No, like every day new chapters are coming, new subjects are coming, new techniques are coming. Right? We need to explore every article and we need to explore everything and get into this. That's how like learning will not stop. Like if you place in one company also, learning will not stop and the work will be so more like 7 to 8 hours a day. If you're committed to it, like you will get the good pay as well for it, but you should be committed for 8 to 9 hours at least not to be this in this domain. Like you said, everything is booming here and we'll get the good pay and the work will be there as well from 7 to 8 hours at least. And no chat GPT will help. You have to analyze yourself and you have to crack that and debug that code. It will come from the practice. How many data sets you will crack in or how many data sets you will solve. That's where in real time like we'll get to know like this is the solution for it and no one will there to help. If they are paying 12 to 13 lakhs, who will be there to help to you back? Like even you are a fresher, they'll treat you as a experienced only. Even you are getting into a data analyst domain like a fresher. Like I have entered this machine learning engineer role as a fresher, but no one treat me like a fresher. What are the senior machine learning is doing, I'm also doing that only. That is the part in it. Like if there is no data scientist where you have placed in some other company, like there will be no data scientist there, like you are the only one, then you have to handle everything, right? That's how your preparation should be and that's how your confidence should be there. Like it comes from the solving, it comes from the practice. Like you all know about the Python, like it will not come by seeing the just videos, right? You should practice. We should go to some other hacker rank or where the competitions are going in. Like we should try to solve them. That's where we'll good at. So what have we learned in this data analytics part till now? So now, like, how many want to become this data scientist or data engineer? Now we came to know the difference between the all those, right? So what are you into? Like who recommended you this data analytics? Like why you have chosen this data analytics other than this data engineer, or data scientist? Somehow you're not knowing about this, or what made you to come into this data analytics particularly?
We are from non-tech background.
Even I forgot to say, like, I'm from electronics. Like, I have done my engineering in ECE, electronics and communication engineering. Even like we should not say like we are from non-tech or non-tech and all. Like many of the data scientists who came from the non-technical background. Now they are now have they become the technical architects and some China data scientist role. Like many of them, like who have done the CSC are not into this data scientist particularly. Like we should forget about like we are from the non-tech initially, like not initially, completely forgot about you are from non-tech background. Start from the scratch. Solve one problem daily in Python. Solve one problem, one data set. Know one new technique every day. How to solve and what to not. Know the tools. If you know the machine learning and deep learning is not enough, we need to know the cloud as well. We need to know the SQL as well. We need to do certifications continuously. There is a rule in quantify analytics that we have to do certification for every 2 months. Every 3 months there will be a review. If you are into startup, you should you should be like a confident enough to expose yourself what you have done in this 2 3 months. Like in quantify every 3 months there will be a like as you all know yearly once only the hike like the discussion will be there one-on-one discussion with the manager. But in startups, like it will be like a 2 to 3 months there will be a review for it. What all have you done till now? What is the new challenges? And for every 2 months you have to do one certification like, along with the work. It's not that easy to do, right? Like GCP associate certification, it costs 14,000 rupees, where they'll provide, but we have it will not ongo in a 1-2 months. It will take 2-3 months if we prepare for it, but we have to do it or crack it in a 2 months. In order to sit in the review, we have to particularly do it. In that go, like by being as a machine learning engineer, doing 8 to 9 hours work, and this along with the certification we have to crack. That's how the real world is, and they'll not ask for your excuses and all. You have to do it. That's it. That's where I have done 4 certification in quantify analytics. Like it's not as my interest, but we have to do there, and we have to know about it. Like everything in quantify analytics is in GCP. It's a partner to the Google. That's where where we have to develop in the client environment. Where is GCP? Google Cloud Platform, where we have to develop there, deploy there, and even the data analysts, data engineers will do in the GCP platform for the security purpose. For that, you have to know this GCP platform and the cloud platforms as well. Particularly spend 1 hour in data analytics part, solve one data set, go sit for half an hour for SQL, sit for Python, sit for this cloud services and all. In every job description now it is there. Like the prerequisites is you have to do the certifications. If you have gone through or not, I don't know. Like in the every prerequisites in every job description there is there. Like you have to do this certification, you have to do that. Then only we'll apply that, right? Particularly spend one apart from this office hours, apart from your studies. Sit for 1 hour for Python, half an hour for Python, and half an hour for SQL. From 1 hour to dedicate it to the articles, like what is updating, what is new in this. Day by day, it is updating. Day by day, every new deal is coming in, which is much progress than before. That's how the dedication should be in order to be in this. It's been already 2-3 months, right? Like you could have solved many problems and many data sets for it. 3-4 months, right? Go and sit for one interview, not to switch directly. Go and sit in one interview. The process will be first there will be assignment, you have to crack it. Then sit for the interview just for your practice purpose. Not I'm saying you switch now or you are into this data scientist, data analyst or something. Just for sit interview, then you will came to know like what is they asking, what is the real time world is, what are they working on, what you have to learn. If you do not have a clarity about what you learn and sit for the interview, then you will come to know what they are asking, what you have to learn, other than this what you have learned. That's how the interview preparation also should be. Like if you're not ready as well, like go for, if you are aim for the some other company, like if you are aim for Tiger Analytics, which is a booming company in analytics and this data scientist domain, which is in Hyderabad. If you are aiming for the Tiger Analytics, sit for some other small company, go for the small company and practice there. What are they asking? You can't directly crack the Tiger Analytics, right? You have to sit for some other companies and you want to let you know like what is happening, what are they asking and all, so that your experience will come in, like you will learn all the things from there, then only you will crack the Tiger Analytics, right? That's what, like if you're not confident enough or if you don't know what to learn and what to go next, go sit for one interview and you'll come to know like what are they asking, what are the real time scenarios, like the what they're expecting from you as a data analyst. So preparing for any role, not the data analyst, like if you're preparing for the data scientist, or it's not that easy. It will not get into one technical round and directly placed. No, that's not the scenario in this all the roles. Like at least you have to sit for 2 technical rounds. At least it's a bare minimum. It could be an 3 to 4 technical rounds as well. Like quantify analytics to two to three technical rounds, like 3 technical rounds for the quantify analytics. Now I'm working in predictive technologies. It took 4 technical rounds, which is one technical round answer, like it's 1.5 hour long. The first one is done by the some junior machine learning engineer. Second is senior, and then managerial round, kind of like third round. Every round happens in 1 to 1.5 hour long. That's how your learning should be. Like it depends on your worth and all. Like as many problems as you solve, you'll get that experience. Like which is not same. What you're thinking is not same as like if you're solving some data set in the Kaggle, but you like in the real time scenario you can't solve that. Like you need to sit for data analytics, preparing dashboards, and to pre-process data. It takes days and days, days and days. Like to prepare the model, the code is already there. Like for the data science role, the code is already there where you can use linear regression or random forest algorithm, where is already there in the internet. Come and put in our model. It's kind of easy, but data pre-processing, data cleaning, which is not there in the internet as well in Stack Overflow, where we'll come in with the new errors. We have to solve it. That's how our preparation should be. Initially, like getting into some Udemy courses or Coursera, like it is fine. Like for your prerequisites, or for your knowing what is what and all. By practicing only by making you making you better. If you're ready for the if you thought like you're ready for it, go for one interview. Then you'll come to know you have vast and so much to learn. So, how many of you want to become this data scientist now? Definitely, the pay should be more. Like comparatively to the data analyst and data engineer, data scientist gets more. If you are aware not, if you are aware or not, I don't know. But data scientist is a very good role. Like where you'll come to know this data pre-processing and data deploy along with the deployment with the cloud and lots of learning will be there in the office hours only. It is not the work we are done, we already know, but we are knowing and learning from the work. It's a learning. We are not doing on a project or we are not delivering the work to the client. If you are working as a data analyst or a data scientist or data engineer, we are learning every day. We are not doing work for the company or a client. So can anyone explain what type of data set found interesting and how you solved about it? Like what are the techniques you have used? Initially, what we did. Like, do you know the life cycle of data science project? Like what we have to do from starting to ending.
5 to 6 months. I
In
think so.
the real time scenario, whatever the project takes in, first the data comes in, right? That's the step one, the data collection. It should be in whatever the format. In CSV, comma separated file or some Excel file or some JSON, JSNL. Whatever the format should be, we should in a place to solve it or convert it to whatever we want. The CSV comes in. For example, the CSV comes in as a data collection. Later, we have to do some feature engineering for it. That's how it is not completely the role of the data analyst or a data scientist. But if you are a data scientist or data analyst, like you should be in a position to pre-process it. There'll be so many missing values, imbalance will be there, imbalanced data will be there, and there'll be so many duplicates will be there. That's how we clean the data, right? The second step is the feature engineering. Later, we after that feature engineering, like in this Kaggle, if you take the data set, it's a simple process where we having only one target variable and 10 to 15 features. Then it will take hardly 1 2 hours or 1 2 days if you are fresher. Like in real time scenarios, it will not be like that. There will be lots of columns will be there, rows will be there. We have to deal with the huge amount of data. For example, llama is having 70 billion trained on lava 70 b's trained on 70 billion parameters. That's how like it's like a big data. We need to know the big data as well. Hadoop concepts and whatnot. Like everything we should aware of. Not only don't stick to this machine learning or only dashboards I will do, only this deployment, only cloud I have new. No one will take you like that. You should aware of everything. In order to be a data analyst or a data scientist or a data engineer, you should be aware of what other person should do, no? Data analyst will deliver to the data scientist. Data scientist will deliver to the data engineer. It's a cycle, like it's a process. You have to explain what you have done to the data scientist as well in his or her terms. So, like I said, the second step is the feature engineering. Later, we have done all that part. It comes to feature selection. If there is a 3,000 columns, we'll not stick to the 3,000 columns, right? Like there are only 100 to 150 columns where we have used for the model training. The art of elimination, like by feature selection, could be done by this correlation and chi-square, and some algorithms is there, tree classifiers, genetic algorithms. By using all these techniques, we'll do some feature selection. At last, we'll come to some extent where the data set is with the 5 to 6 columns and 1,000 rows. Feature selection is feature selection is what it means. We should eliminate the features. If we have 3,000 features, we should eliminate all them, and we should be in a position to what is what, like which is give more importance when in terms of model training. That's how the feature selection is, and there are lots of techniques will be there. If you are a data analyst also, like in some companies, they ask you to do this. If you are not aware of it, you can't do it, right? That's so, like if you are only sticking to this data analyst and there is only syllabus for it, don't stick to that. We have to know what the other people also doing, no? Later, the fourth step is like the model development, where the data scientist will do like the lot for every model there is completely some other algorithm for it. We should know about all the algorithms in order to model training. Later on, the deployment part comes in, the fifth step. Before the deployment, like there are lots of metrics will be also there. Like for computer vision, the other metrics will be there. For NLP, recently I worked in the summarization task. I need to fine tune this Llama 7B chart model with the fine tuning of some other healthcare domain. They can't give their personal data to some GPT and ask for the summarization, right? The fine tuning itself says that. Like we'll take the base model 7B, Llama 7B, and we'll train or fine tune with our data set, what we're having, with the some security issues and all. Like we can't expose it to some chat GPT or some Llama chat. That's where the fine tuning comes in. From that, like we have to uh, solve the task like summarization. For that also there are separate metrics. If we train for the linear regression, we'll go for accuracy metric and the AUC and this mean square error. These are the metrics. For the summarization task, what I am doing right now, for the metrics are different. We use Rogel for it, Meteor for it. That's how like the for every algorithm there is different metrics, different evaluation techniques, different pre-processing techniques, which is very vast. By doing and practicing things only we'll come to know this. It's not by seeing any videos, or they'll explain definitely, but you should be in a position where to use that. The different metrics will be there, and the fifth different evaluation technique will be there. The fifth step is, like I said, the deployment. Before the deployment, based on these metrics, we'll come to know how the accuracy is, and linear regression accuracy is 82%. If you use random forest, it is 94. Then we'll come to know that like random forest is working fine, right? For that, we need some hyperparameter techniques to increase the accuracy or to increase some metrics, evaluation metrics, which for like in order to know like how the model is performing, by metrics only we came to know that. We'll come to know that. From that, like we'll do some hyperparameter tuning. Then in every algorithm there are different types of parameters. We should be in a position to tune them. In order to tune them, we must know about them, right? For that, we have to do some rigorous practice on different algorithms and different data sets. Before deployment, we'll come to this hyperparameter tuning. Later on, at the end, like we came to know that like the accuracy is 99, and this is the perfect algorithm for it. Then we deploy. Deployment is also not a easy task, right? Nowadays, like startups are asking to deploy in cloud. For that, we need to know the cloud. Whether they'll ask for GCP, we have to do it in GCP. In clouds also, so many are there. Azure is there, AWS is there, GCP is there. If you came to know that like every service is same, but the names are different. If you learn GCP, it is easy to deploy in AWS and Azure as well. But you should be in a position to at least learn one cloud. What are the services they are providing? How should we use it? To certifications only you'll come to know it. That's why they ask you to do some certifications on it and all. Since starting, I'm asking what you want to become. Like no one is responding. Like these two people and that girl. What you people want to become? You should have
Data
a plan
scientist.
first of all, like what domain I have to step in. Whatever the domain, you have to learn everything, each and everything in the data science. If it is a full stack developer, he have to learn the front end and back end, both, right? And he will not stick to only Java. He'll not stick to only this PyPark and all. He has to know every language, right? It depends on the company. One company will ask this Azure, one company will ask this GCP. We should in a position to learn both, like crack both. I have done 2 years, like I said, like I have done 2 years in Azure. If my new company is asking for AWS, I'm in a position to get into that, right? Because of they are asking AWS, I should not reject it, right? We should learn everything, at least the basics. They'll not deep dive into it. Like if you sit for the data analyst role also, they might ask what is linear regression. You should be in a position to answer it. At least as a basic, it's an algorithm. It will use for the machine learning technique, and the metrics for it is this and this. That's how like at least you should have a basic knowledge about everything. Whatever you are in, do that into deep dive into it, solve as many as problems you can, and know the basics about all those things. This data scientist, what are the data engineer will do. If you are entering into startup, they ask you to this data engineer program. Like they ask you to do means they ask you to do this data engineer role also. Like in order to deploy. Like you should not say like I'm a data analyst, I don't know how to deploy and I should not do like I'll not do. You should not do like that, right? You should do. You have to learn itself on the go within 1 2 days. Data engineer and data analyst takes 5 to 6 months to train, right? If you enter into this data real time world, if they ask you to this deployment as well, you should learn in 1 to 2 days and you have to do it, right? That's why you should have a prior knowledge about it. You should not stick to one task and one dashboard and one data set, not like that. You should have exposure of everything. I'm the one who is speaking since starting. Like, tell me about the data set, no? How you solved and what are the techniques, and give few inputs about it and how to solve it. What is the data set you worked on till now?
No show data. No show data.
What it contains?
So hospitalization like appointment, how is going on there? Day wise like in a weekend or weekdays, appointments there or not.
What is the shape of it?
feature engineering is the male and female column is there. We have to merge into one, like 0 and 1 like this. We have to reduce columns.
Yeah, it's one of the technique. Like that's how we'll do, but it's very small thing. Is feature engineering same as EDA? What is EDA then? I'm not asking about the full form. Like what is the techniques are there
It's
in?
a process through which, like, first we get the data, then read the data, how many rows, how many columns are there. Then we see what are the column properties, and based on that, like, and we'll come to know like what all changes we need to do, like as per the columns. If there are some missing values, like how many missing values are there? Are there any outliers? So basic this thing about EDA is we'll read the data, we'll come to know about the data, the properties of the columns, how many rows are there, like what all cleaning techniques we need to use, and all those things. And after that, we'll go to the after doing all those things, we clean the data, we'll impute the values, or we'll just remove the values based on the column properties, and after that, we'll go for the visualization.
Yeah, that's how the flow is. But yeah, like I said, EDA is a part of feature engineering. Like the in feature engineering, the first step is EDA. First of all, we need to in the EDA, the first step is we load the data. Like we'll get to know the shape of it, and later we'll know about the statistic of it. Statistic comes from yes, correct. And later on, dot info is so if first of all,
Categorical and
yes, correct. Like the first step is to loading the data, and later in the second step we'll get to know like how many missing values are there. If there are missing values, what we'll do? How we'll come to know we should drop or we should not. Everything is important in real time scenarios.
client in more than 70% is there, you can ask.
You are the one who have to tell him like what we should drop, which is not needed, which is needed. First of all, you should understand the data.
But like it will depend on the problem statement as well.
Correct, correct. That's why I said like prepare for more problems, practice more problems. That's how we will come to know. First, it is a manual work. Go through the data set. Depending on what the target variable is. You know about the independent variables and dependent variables, right? There will be a target. In order to achieve the target, what are the features we need? For that, how many missing values? Like 70% they are missing values. How can we replace them? We can't, right? In that scenario, we should delete it or we should drop it. If it is not, if there is a concept called feature importance as well, it comes under correlation and all. Like first of all, we need to go through the technique called correlation in order to explain or in order to like know about the data set. If there are missing values, depending on the importance or not, depending on the importance, we should drop or not, we'll get to know. We should drop it. In order to replace it, like if you want to fill the missing values, what are the techniques we'll use?
Forward fill and backward.
Forward fill, backward fill, then mean, median, or more.
The basic is mean median, right? If it is a numerical value, you should use the center, mean or median to fill it, right? It is doesn't make sense if you fill 70% of the data. That's why we delete it or drop it. If you have imbalanced data, what we'll do? You know what the imbalanced data, means if there is a classification problem, kind of the classification and regression, right? Classification is a kind of problem where there will be a Yes or no kind of, whether it is a fraud or not. If it is a fraud detection, bank fraud detection, there will be a target. If it is a fraud or not, we will come to know that yes or no kind of, right? Those are the classification kind of problems.
So depending on how many are there, like yes is more than we can decrease it yes.
Actually, the imbalanced data means like if we have 90% of S's and 10% of no's, it is imbalanced data. Then whatever we ask the model, it have trained on the yes no, it will automatically give us. That's why the data should not be in imbalanced manner. It should be balanced. In order to do it, there are so many techniques. And about these outliners, how do you find out and how do you plot it? How do you calibrate their yeah, these are the bare minimum techniques like in the data pre-processing. I should not say these only will be there in the data like in the real time scenario. No, these are the main bare minimum basics of data pre-processing and all. It can be more in the real time scenario. So for the feature selection, do you know the techniques of it? Still, I did not know the syllabus of yours. Like, what have you learned till now? Only one data set you have said. From the past one and one, what are you up to? Like, what is the headings of it or what?
Basically, like we are mainly learning the tools and the techniques.
Which tools?
Initially, like advanced, like from BA, I can tell like advanced Excel, then Python. After that, libraries of Python which are required in BA, SQL, and Power BI.
Python libraries are Matplotlib, CBOR.
Yeah, Seaborn.
Have you aware of this NumPy and Pandas?
Yes.
And EDA only. What is there in EDA? And if you take Pandas, there is much more to learn. It's not stick to only loading the data. It's not stick to one particular thing. If you want to learn, to be frank, if you want to learn Pandas, it takes at least a week. Even for the NumPy, there are so many techniques in it. We can use it in any way. Like for at least for one library, it will take at least 1 week if you want to learn deep into it. Even for this Matplotlib, Seaborn, whatnot. Like if you are into NLP domain, there will be another kind of libraries will be there where we'll use NLTK. There will be lots of concepts will be there.
So is it useful for data scientists to learn NumPy?
It's in the day-to-day life scenario. Like it's like a bare minimum basic.
Is it mandatory to learn Power BI and data science? Power BI is training part.
Like I said, like if you want to, you can, but not much related to that work. Completely data scientist role is on development where we pre-process the data. Like by using, we don't need Power BI Tableau to visualize the tools, right? We have this Matplotlib in order to understand the data. I say ki like if we want to like become a data scientist, we don't need much about it. Just learn about this Matplotlib, Seaborn, how you will
We
visualize
learn
the
to one
things.
language like Python.
Sorry.
So for data science, Python is mandatory.
Mandatory, correct. And there are so many languages like this. Not only stick to Python, it will be like R.
What is the difference between Python and R? Same or
Same, the syntax is different. What is the difference between this Java and Python?
syntax?
So like there is a difference between this Python and R too. Like which is Python is more easy than R. If it is like it is good to know about the R also. If the client is asking for a R, within on the go, like you have to learn R within a week and you have to able to solve it. That's how tune your mind. Like if I want to learn anything, don't take days or months. If you want to learn R, sit for continuously 5 6 hours, go through one video, and later on solve one problem about it, so that you'll come to know what is R and you'll able to solve it in a real time scenario, right? Tune your mind ki like daily I'll sit for one new update technique. Then only this much vast syllabus or this much vast techniques you will able to learn.
Please explain the data set.
So I have that I have to get a master today that I have to solve in hackathon. I have that.
They don't know today they don't.
But they come to know it. I have answered. If you want to explain.
Just explain the data set.
Let's see one data set now. I thought you are all are freshers, like it's been only week or two. That's why I have given a this data set which is very simple.
Share.
So this is the data set. It is all about the performance of a student, like accomplishments of a student, how the math score is, reading score is, and writing score is, right? And the genders, and the race, and parental level education, and the lunch, and the test preparation course. What do you think? Like, which is here is the target variable.
Not it is in plants.
The two columns is writing score and writing score. It is. What do you think? Here is the target variable. This is gender, race, and parental level of education, lunch, and test preparation course. It's a very starting, like the very first day, the data scientist will solve this, or data analyst, or some. That's how, like it is a medium level, not also medium, like it's a easy level of data set. So, what do you think the target variable here? Which score? Max score, reading score, writing score? Writing score. So yeah, who said that? Yeah, we need to create a new column with the total score or average score. That is the target variables. That's how we think out of the box. There is no one to tell about, like if you are into real time scenario, the target variable will not be there. We have to create by ourselves by doing some average or a total. So we'll do some average or total for it. That is the target variable here. So what do you think the independent variables are? It is a dependent variable now. On which scenario, like it is dependent, like if we can, we have to take the all gender test and parent level education and all, or we can drop any column depending on lunch.
I mean, you can drop that. Right?
Why should we drop it? Like if the one person is taking 2 hours to eat, and if one person is taking 1 hour to eat, like he is getting the time for 1 hour more to study, right? Why should we drop it?
But it does not define the time, right?
The free reduced and standard means, like we need to go through that also, like what is.
Test preparation course is dependent.
First of all, we had that target variable, right?
Yes.
Now, as a data analyst, we should do like which is depending on what. What is the correlationship between this lunch and the total score, test and the total score, and parent? There will be a visualization tools or visualization. That's how the EDI is, right? We need to do some data analysis part for it. not to understand it. Like it is as clear as it. Like if you see, like we are able to understand it. But in real time scenarios, if you are dealing with healthcare data, especially, we need to know about the biological terms as well. There is no one to learn, and there will be no doctor for you to explain. It is a general language, right? That's how we came to know this is the scores and this is what and what. But if you're dealing with some healthcare data, where at times like I have dealt with the healthcare data in data science projects also, there are so many domains. Financial data will come in, business data will come in, healthcare data will come in. You don't know people like where you are getting into. Like if you are into, like if they are letting into this healthcare project, even if you are not biological student, you have to know about it, right? You have to deal with that client. It's a professional world. Like we can't say like I don't know. We should learn as possible. Yeah, first we'll see like is it imbalanced data or not. Like the female should be like 60%, male should be like 40 or 50-50. Females are 90 and males are 10, means it is imbalanced data, right? We should make it balanced if it is there. If you have null values, you have to replace it. We can replace it with mean, median, and all. If it is a categorical data, we can't use this mean, median, right? So, first of all, we need to analyze like how many numerical variables are there, how many categories are there. If it is categorical, what we'll do in order to convert into this numerical, we can't deal with this categorical data, right?
0 and 1.
If it is two, like if it is standard and create used, we'll use this 0 and 1. If it is not, if three or more are there, here there is bachelor's degree, some college, associate, and high school. There are four unique values are there. First of all, we need to know how many unique values are there in each column. Coming to this parental level of education, there are four. What kind of technique we'll use other than the 0 and 1? There is a technique called one hot encoding. If there is the variable, like if there is a unique variables or two or more, we'll use it. It will work like zeros and ones only. It is a technique to convert into zeros and ones. If there is a red, green, and pink, if it is pink, we'll mark it as one, and other two are zero. If it is red, in the place of red, it is one, and the other two columns are zeros. That's how we can do it, right? That's how we can convert into zeros and ones. The technique called unhot encoding. If it is 100 plus unique variables, what we'll do? There is other technique called, there is another technique for it. Like it's target encoding. That's how, like if you deal with the major or big data sets, we'll come to know what are the issues in it, and we'll figure out one other technique to it. We can't use the one hot encoding technique for the 100 unique variables. Then it will, the columns will be more, right? Then the data will get bigger. How can we figure it out then? So for one each problem, there is one each technique is there. We have to learn all. So we'll use some target encoding technique if you have three or more unique variables. For lunch, like we'll use some 0 and 1 wala thing. And here also in race, kind of, first of all, we'll find out what the numerical variables and the categorical. Later, we'll convert this categorical variable into numerical variable. Next, we'll see the mean and median of it and the correlation of it, and how many null values are there. If there is null values, we'll replace it with mean, or if you drop it. So analyzing this all data set with some visualization tools and some other techniques is a feature engineering. This is only one step in one step in this whole data science life cycle. It takes so much of time. It's not a 1 day or a 2 day thing. If it is a simple, we can sit for 1 to 2 days. In real time scenarios, the data will be so vast. There will be lots of cartoons and billions of parameters will be there. At that time, it is not easy to clean, right? Lots of the challenges are there in real time scenario as a data analyst and a data engineer. It is not dealing with the columns with 1,000 rows and six columns. It should be very high. Like initial stage, we have to go through it and we have to come to know the techniques and we have to in a position to implement for the vast data set, which is very big. That's how the learning should be. So later, what do you think on what basis the target variable will achieve? Your data analysts only will come to know there are 1,000 rows in it. We have to analyze, we have to visualize the data, we have to understand the data. From that, we'll be getting some inputs or accordingly we'll use some algorithm technique for it. In the industry, there are lots of algorithm techniques. We not only stick to linear regression or random forest or regression or some kind, XGBoost or something. We have to apply all algorithms to it. Whichever works best, we have to use it. So we are in a position to use all the techniques and all the syntax for it. And for every algorithm, there is a different metric. How can you compare the metrics between evaluation metrics for the XGBoost and the random forest? How can we compare if the metrics are different? That's what we should learn from the videos. What are the techniques and what are the definitions for it, where we have to use and all. Later, if you have got into that mind technique, we have to use it in real time scenario. That should be the learning. Not only just stick to the videos like 1 hour is the production work, like 1 hour is the sitting time for me to learn new things. 1 hour whole watching videos is not enough. Half an hour stick to the videos and half an hour we have to learn. We have to practice. We have to go to Kaggle and participate in some or other competitions so that you'll get to know how this the competition is and also there is a visibility of other outputs as well, like who are participating in this in that competition. They'll release the other person's code also. We'll get to know how he used and how we are used. We're getting only 80%, he's getting 90%. What is the pre-processing technique? And again, how will be the clean data or deep data pre-processing data? It depends on the like if you have a clean data, if you have a balanced data, then only the model will perform well. Then only the accuracy should be coming in a better way. In order to be in a 90% accuracy, it should be like a clean data. The data analyst will do like that, right? It should be in a clean and clear picture to the data scientist in order to use them in some or other model. If there is any null value or if it is a unbalanced data or somehow there are duplicates in it, the accuracy will not come in a good way, right? So the main role and the major role should be in a data pre-processing. That's what the data analyst will do. In real time scenario, what data scientist will say? Like the data is not clean, that's why it's not getting the good accuracy. So the mistake is data analyst. So we'll, as you all know, like what you people will use as a tool. It's a Jupyter notebook or a Google Colab or are you aware of this Google Colabs as well? Like, yeah, if you are entering into this real-time scenario, Google Colab will more helps. Like it is not in the local, it's online, right? We can use some more GPUs. In order to train this Llama 7B, we have to at least have these two GPUs, which is not there in our laptops. Then we'll come under some out of memory issue. So make familiar with this Google Colab, how to use and what to use. It contains some other GPUs as well, like with the high memory. If you are entering into some big type of problems or real time scenarios, we should be using in GPUs, right? Not CPUs. It can be done with the CPUs. It is done in Jupyter Notebook. In order to use GPUs, like we need some other platform, right? Which is Google Colab, where it freely provides the GPUs, not to train anything. As you all know, like we'll import the libraries and here we are reading the CSV in the distribution by gender. Like I said before, it can be in a bar graph. First of all, we should be in a position to, like, it should be in a graph plot or a pie plot or like some or other plots. Like if you know the complete analysis of, if you know the all the plots, then only we'll come to know it. Like for gender, we'll use this bar chart, right? We should know about the all the histograms as well. Like here, I'm using bar graph for distribution of students in gender. So we'll come to know that there are 500 females and nearly 450 or 480 males. We can't see by saying it. We can't say that by saying it data set, right? We have to analyze it. We have by visualization tools. For it, we don't want this Power BI or some Tableau, where the basic commands only in Jupyter Notebook itself, in Colab itself, we are doing it. In terms of presentations and all, you need it. Like in order to explain to the client, in order to, like, that part is comes under this UI UX again. Like in order to explain it to the client or in order to show to the client, we need some Tableau or Power BI. What UI UX developer will do? He'll do this only without any technical knowledge. The difference between the UI UX developer and data analyst should be you have to know the technical terms of it. He'll create the dashboards anyway. You have to be in a position to explain to the client in a technical way. What is what? Everyone will knows that, like, this bar graph is female and female and 500 is female and everyone will understand from it. But if it's in a technical terms, data analyst will explain it. The dashboards and all the UI UX developer will take care of. So your main aim should be to learn the technical terms of it, not sticking to Power BI dashboards and Excel, whatnot. Like they're the persons who will do it. There are already roles for it. There are already designations for it. Data science analyst or scientist, like, who knows the complete technical knowledge about the project. This is the count of it, how many of it. Like you people are aware of. It's already 2 months, like you said. This is the info about it. If there are null values, a data type, and also some real-time projects are somehow. It should not stick into this int or float or object. There will be lots of data types. Our first time should be like we should be in a same data type. All features and the target variable, everything. If it is a small data set, it does not contain any null values and the data types are all accordingly the same. That's why we are not touching it. In real time scenarios, it will not be like that. They'll give you some random raw data which contains no int values or float values or no object or strings or nothing. You have to prepare it by yourselves and you have to get into the same data types. Then only you will perform the data pre-processing or any technique, right? If at all it is a different data types, how you will perform? You can't, right? And this is the describe of it. Describe gives the statistics of what is what. and the mean, count, and standard value, and 25% of mean and max. So from here, dot describe, like the maximum percentage of student is 100, right? And here the df, and here I'm calculating null values. I'm seeing whether the duplicates are there or not. If there are duplicates, what is meant by duplicates? What we should do then if there is repeated values?
Let's check whether repeated value is there or not.
Yeah, after checking if there are duplicate values, what you'll do? It depends on the task again and the project and the data set as well. Like majorly, if you have duplicates, will drop in the shape of it. 1,000 rows and 8 columns, and here that's where I'm calculating the total score and average score for it. Able to see, right? Here I'm plotting the average scores by gender. Why should I do it? And why should I use this histogram? Why should I only take an x-axis 100 and y-axis 50 and 80? What the reason? Like why I have only used this histogram and why I'm only doing for the male and females? I would have taken some other, right? To analyze, I have done it. For what purpose? How you people will come to know like we should only take the average scores or total scores for it. Why should I do it? So what is the conclusion from it? Correct. In this scenario, why you are using it? Why you are only using it? Why not some?
You're considering the gender. So you're taking the frequency of both male and female, mark sex with the male and
The comparison of two, right? And the conclusion of it says female scores more. So you'll come to know it by histogram. The female scores more, right? Here I'm exploring the data. How many? These are the unique values of the categorical variables. In genders, there are two unique variables where we can use 0 and 1. In order to convert this categorical variable into numeric variable, we have to know, right, how many unique values are there, like we discussed before. In gender, there is female and male. That's why we'll use 0 and 1. In race, there are 5. 5 unique values are there. What we'll use there? Some other technique will be there. And parental level of education, 4 or 5 is there. In lunch, 0 and 1 is there. In course completion variable and completion variable has a 2. If there is 2, we can replace it 0 and 1. If there is 3 or more, we'll use one hot encoding, I said. We'll use that one hot encoding technique and we'll replace them with the 0 and 1s. Here I am defining the numerical and categorical columns and printing it. 5 numerical features are there, 5 categorical features are there. This is the pie chart for race ethnicity with highest number of students. Why I use pie chart for this? Why not bar graph? Why not histogram?
Show the counts of the pair.
We'll come to know it with bar graph also, right? We can use the bar graph here.
Percentages. It shows the portion of one particular race with respect to others.
That's what I have showed the pie chart for you. Doesn't mean we only use pie chart for it. It depends on the individual. Like you may get some other thought, like we can use some other chart. In order to do it, like we should know, right, how many types of histograms are there, how many types of charts are there, where should we use what. Here we are seeing the correlation between the math score and the reading scores. Like how dependent are there the reading scores with the math scores. That's where I have used this correlation technique. If it is a 2, we can use correlation technique. If it is 3 or more, there are some more other techniques for the feature selection and all. Like we have, we can use this chi-square. We can use this genetic algorithms. We can use this tree classifier algorithms. If your the columns or features are more, there are lots of techniques will be there. And this is scatter plot for parental level of education versus math scores. Like we can create lots of charts and lots of plots, not to analyze the data, we have to understand for our purpose only. We don't need to show the world like I have done this, I have done this. Like how far you understand the data set is important. At the end, we are the one who are solving the data set and coming with the conclusions, right? No need to show the world like you have done these many charts and no one will see it. At last, they'll see for the conclusion what you have done and like how far you came, like what you have analyzed it and what is the main conclusion from it, what is the target variable and what are the features we should use and all. These are all because of analysis. Let's talk about the model training just a bit. Like, what is the steps in a model training? But you said like for data analysis or life cycle of a data science project, there will be a feature engineering. In that, EDI is there, null values are there. We can take it out, and duplicates are there. We can replace it. If it is imbalanced data, we'll balance it. If there are outliners, we'll do some other techniques. We'll plot the box plot and we'll continue the outliners are there, whether it is important or not. The steps for it. Likewise, in training also there will be steps. For that, like just like every other problem, we'll import the basic libraries for it. And later the modeling techniques. Like we have first of all, we'll come to conclusion that for what problem, what algorithm works. If it is a classification problem, there is some algorithms. If it is a regression, there is some algorithms. There are so many types of categories also there in modeling. Likewise, like here, it is a regression problem where we dealing with the different numbers, right? That's where we came to conclusion that like we can use this SVR and random forest and decision tree and this k neighbor regression. These are the algorithms. Coming to this means squared error and R2 score, like accuracy we have in classification. In regression, we'll use this mean square errors and R2 square and R2 score and mean absolute error and the mean squared error. These are the metrics. We are importing all those from the SQL and model itself. And we are importing the CSV here. So we decided like it's one of the approach we can go with the total score or a total average score. We can make the max score also a target variable. It depends on us, no? Like in this data set, if there is no client, we can assume that max score is a target variable. So we are dropping it and preparing a new data set without any max score. Here we are dropping the max score column and now the dataset is ready without max score. Here the target column now is max score, and the target variable consists of like where max score is assigning to some other df called y. This is how the y is. And here, like we have numerical variables and categorical variables, right? This part, like in numerical features, we are excluding object type. Like we don't want that string types, right? We use an hot coder and hot encoder and the standard scalar for it. Like for the numerical values, we'll use standard scalar, not to get into this numerical like not to get into the numerical terms. We use one hot encoding for the categorical variables, not to turn it to some numerical variables. Later, like this processor, what is the processor we have, preprocessor we have used, we are fitting it in a fit underscore transform. That's how it will fit in the x, and the shape of x is 1000 comma 19 now, 1000 rows and 19 columns. This is how the x is after pre-processing and after encoding everything. Everything is there in the numerics, right? Now we are ready to go. Like the model can understand the dataset very well because it is numerical dataset, numerical variables. Now the step is we need to split the dataset from training to testing. Training, testing, and validation will be there. First of all, if you take the model, in that dataset only 80% of the columns will do for training. And later, if you are going with the accuracy somehow, the evaluation metrics will go under the past test data set. You will get the metrics for it. That is a huge important step in the modeling. Like first of all, after getting all the data into numerical format, we'll split the data into train and test. If there is needed, we'll use validation data set as well. The basic of it is like 70-30 is a training and testing. We can give it at as 80-20, 90-10, 50-50. The basic through all the research and all, the standard percentage of it is 70-30. 70 we should use for training and 30 we should use for testing. That's how I have splitted the data set. This is a syntax for it. And for training, there are 800 columns and 800 rows and 19 columns. And for testing, 200 rows and 19 columns. That's how I have splitted it. And for the evaluation, like what I'm saying is like these all codes and errors, everything will be there in the internet itself. Like we should know like where to use what. We should know, like no one will say like it is a classification problem or regression problem. We have to do it by ourselves. We can't put all the data in the some ChatGPT and Google, right? We are in a position to at least divide it, like at least know the type of it, classification and regression. For that regression, there will be separate metrics for it. There are lots of metrics for this type of problem. What kind of metric should be fine? Like how it should be perform well if we give what metrics for it. It should be in our head, not taking any help or chat gpt. It did not say also, like we can't put all the client data in the chat gpt and ask for it, right? That's how we have to learn. Like here the evaluation model for metrics, I have taken this mean absolute error, mean squared error, and I'm taking 4 of it because like it's a regression problem, and whatever the performs best in all three in 3 or 4 metrics, I'll take that. We can use it, but we cannot take all the metrics and see what is performing good, right? We are in a position to, like we should be in a position to at least figure out 2 to 3 metrics for what to use for the problem statement. According to the metrics, we can figure out later. Here I'm using the models whatever I can for this data set. It is not like writing a linear regression lasso or it's lots of background background work will be there in order to select these. Like there are lots of algorithms. Why should not I use some other model for it? even for listing out the top 4 or 5 algorithms to use in this data set, there are lots of background work should be there, right? Like we can't directly put on all the algorithms and train on it. It's lots of cost and lots of time waste also, right? Like if at all it is a small data set, we can use like whatever the algorithm, we can test on it and continuously rigorously whatever is required, we can do that. But if it is on CPUs, if it is what else, if we want to use some GPUs, it is a cost and there is a scalability issue and there is a cost issue where the client will say like only use one GPU for it, make use of only one GPU but solve it. We can't do it. We can't do it like way, but we have to figure out some way how to use one GPU for the vast kind of data. That's how the techniques will be. And here just I'm listing out the models. I'm training it and I'm getting this performance metrics for the training set and the tester. These are the metrics. And here I'm listing out the R2 score. I have after this observation, I have figured out like R2 scores performs good for this data set. That's how I decided R2 score and listed the models for it. It's just performing good, like in a descending order. Now we can take like by this analysis we can take the model is rich or there is no much difference between linear regression or rich. Like we can take anything at the as a final model, the linear regression and the R2 score. That's how. Now I'm calculating. I have finalized the linear regression. I'm calculating the accuracy for it, which is 88. And here I'm giving the scattering plot for y test and y predict. And here I'm giving the data set for the actual value, predictive value, and its difference. This is the loss function we will call. That's how the analysis should be. If you are dealing with one data set, not all the data sets are same. It depends on the data set. We have to come to conclusions, or we have to come to know the technique about it. What technique works well for this and all. So the conclusion is like how many data set we'll solve, we'll get that much of exposure, and we are able to solve some complex type of problems as well. It's a very bare, it's a very easy kind of data set. It is. It's very easy. The initial stage we'll deal with it, but as we go on and on, like there'll be lots of parameters and lots of big data set will be there where we have to deal. Like we have to prepare for it. By practice only it comes. That's it. If you have any questions, you can ask.
Model training comes under machine learning.
Yes, the machine learning engineer will do it. Even you have to aware of it. Like the data analyst and data engineer has to be aware of it. Just the basics about it. There is nothing wrong, right? If you know the other things as well, you'll get the exposure. What is what and what he is doing and all. Sometimes the data machine learning engineer only will do this data pre-processing technique. If at all the client is only hiring the machine learning engineer to that project, machine learning engineer like has to do some pre-processing technique as well, right? It's the work of data analyst. If there is no data analyst, machine learning engineer has to do because you have to learn that also. In startups, barely there are two machine learning engineers in one project and one data engineer where there will be no data analyst. If there is no data analyst, like the machine learning engineer should do his work. That's why you have to learn some other roles works also. It's not limited to only dashboards I'm saying ki, like it's not limited to that also. Like we have to know the basics about everything in the data science.
This most of the students data few students getting interesting. They're still involved in this technical skills.
So how is the data science now? You know about it before only, like what is that, what will the data scientist do and what will the data analyst do? First of all, we have given target to you, right? Like I'm a data analyst. What brings you to that? Like have you watched any videos or someone told you, some related told you that data analyst pays more, or as per your interest you came in? What made you to come here? Why data analyst?
So like uh, during my masters, I worked on my worked on a project like that had data and all like visualization it had. After that, I shifted like, to Hyderabad for a job. And like it's a like routine job where I work as a GIS analyst, so we make maps. So like I came to know about this field, and like I already had worked like on a small data during my project, so I thought of like trying it. So that project was like quite interesting, and I liked what I did. So I shifted it to like
Those people are not talking enough. What made you to come into this data analytics? Someone said like that, or you advertisements, that what made you to come here? You know the difference between the engineer, data engineer and data science and data analyst before? Anyone told you what to learn in order to get into this data analyst? Because it pays more, you came here, or what? Nothing like that. If you are entering into this data science domain, you have to be pro at coding. For data analyst also, you have to be pro at coding. Coding will be there. Data analysts need to code, data engineer need to code, data scientist, machine learning, everything is in coding here. It is not non-technical role. It's a technical role. Client will explain in a technical terms only. Like this data is belonging to this, and you have to pre-process this, and you have to use this, and this model helps more. This accuracy is good compared to other algorithm. You have to be in a position to understand all those technical terms, right? Data analysis is not analyst not belong to particularly this Power BI and Tableau. Whatever I said in the beginning, no dot info, dot describe, and you have to replace it. This is all through coding only, right? So take time, like schedule it, like from the scratch, learn from the scratch, like from the libraries. Do one Python coding daily, half an hour, and go with the libraries. What is pandas? What is NumPy, Matplotlib? Like what is more? What spend your time with the dashboards if you want. Participate and explore as many data sets as you can. Research about it, how other people are solving it. The approach will be not same. If there are two data analysts in a same project, they'll not think like a same, right? He'll create some his analysis, she'll create some his analysis, right? But then who will like what the client will take it? The best. You have to be the best. By exploring all the data sets, you will come to know it.
like AI data jobs of data.
Not really, like I said, like we can't put all the personal data of client to the ChatGPT, right? Like we have to think on our and we have to pre-process data on our.
But in real work, we can't use ChatGPT in the workplace, right?
We can
Their
do.
system,
Yeah, we can do.
they can't block that site.
No, no, they can't.
So we can help from chat.
we can take it, but mm, like you learn from past 1 year, and ChatGPT knows only the basics, and it is provided giving the definitions. If you are while interview, it is useful like to give the definitions and all. But while in the real time projects are somehow like you will get to know like you have to know about it, right? What pre-processing step, what chart should be used, what is what and all. For that we have to prepare. It will not take the data analysts or data scientists, and that's why it is booming. It already came. Then why the data scientists are so famous, and why they are hiring data scientists?
The year for the user.
No, no, no. It will not take up any. Like it will take up this full stack developers and developers. I don't say like they'll take the developers. It will take the place of developers. But yeah, it will not. It can't take the data analysts or data engineers or data scientists. That's why it is booming, right? And also the other role, prompt engineer, the art of talking to the chat GPT or LLMs. It is booming again. Like the answer, the better you ask, the better it will give. The way of asking should be known to everyone. Like we can ask like what the definition of it. But there is another way to ask the chat GPT so that it can give the best answer. That is what the prompt engineer work. So what else?
Did you face any challenge in your work?
Daily I'll face. Daily there'll be lots of errors. Daily there'll be new learnings. Like where we are dealing with the new kind of data and new type of data sets, right? Which is given by the client. Every day there'll be errors. Every day there'll be a challenging task, and every day we have to explore lots of articles and the papers regarding this machine learning and deep learning.
Can you like name a few magazines or like articles like somewhere you guys have cited?
It's randomly like we post the like a Stack Overflow is famous for errors. Like if you get the error, like it will directly redirect to the Stack Overflow, right? Like that. Like if you are facing an issue or somehow like there is not particularly articles or magazines, but it will if you are get into this Google search also, it will redirect to it. I can recommend you a few courses if you want, like in order to learn this machine learning and deep learning. This one person called Andrew Ng, Andrew Ng, where he is the first person to get into this machine learning and deep learning, where he'll explain in a very good way.
On Udemy?
It's in Udemy and Coursera as well.
Free of cost?
In Coursera, it is free of cost. In Udemy, it may cost. Like in 8 Cloud Guru is also a very good platform where you can learn all the things. If you're stepping into this cloud wala thing, like the Udemy courses are the best. If you want to learn this machine learning, data analytics, or somehow like the Coursera is the best. That's it.
Ma'am, hello, ma'am.
Depends on the projects again. Like in Quantify, there'll be limited in Quantify Analytics. The startup contains 1,000 to 1,500 employees. In one project, they barely take one machine learning engineer, one data engineer, and one business analyst will be there. And also in startup, the deadline will be very less, where we have to rush to the work and work continuously for 9 to 10 hours. If there is only one machine learning engineer, there is no support. We have to do and we have to done by on our own, right? Only one. In that case, like it will be, it depends on the project and the company too. Like if it is an MNC, there will be 2, 3 machine learning engineers will be there where we collaborate and divide the work. In startup, the deadline will be less and the resources will be less. In that case, we have to work for 9 to 10 hours. In MNCs, if there are 2, 3 machine learning engineers, in that case, you can divide the work and work for 5 to 6 hours. Depends on the projects in the like company mainly.
What is the procedure like? First, you see all the data set, like what is the data and all. Then next step is what?
Yeah, there'll be a not dashboard. There'll be a task generation tool will be there, like Jira or some other Monday.com, where they'll be giving the task for you, like accordingly. If it is a 4 weeks of span, hardly in startups, if it is a data science project, the time will be 4 weeks or 5 weeks or 6 weeks, which will take 3 to 4 months. We have to complete within 4 to 5 weeks. They'll divide the task accordingly, and they'll update the Jira or that Monday.com with the task. Accordingly, we have to do that task and update to the client. That's how the procedure will be like. In some cases, we have to prepare our task for the next 4 weeks, and the deadline is like we have to prepare by our own chart, and it will be getting by 4 to 5 weeks. It depends on completely project and in the company. My suggestion is like if you want to be a pro data analyst, you have to be in a startups for the initial years, at least 5 to 6 years. You have to be like in a startup, and aram se like you can go to MNCs and can sleep, because like you're learning many things and more things, like learning enough here. 5 to 6 years is enough to get into some manager role and all for the suggestions giving, and like in order to be a pro and in order to get paid well, choose startups.
How to get like a you know only in the in team or not?
In my suggestion is कि like I have been in this Naukri and LinkedIn. LinkedIn not gives a good results like in terms of this performance. Like LinkedIn usually it's not professional platform anymore. It's kind of Instagram and nowadays. Like Naukri is the best platform for to get into some jobs. If you are trying seriously, you can go for premium of it also, so that you'll get the good opportunities, and you'll be taking care of the Naukri platform. You'll be getting 2 to 3 calls in Naukri itself. They'll prepare your own resume. If you're seriously preparing for it, seriously wanted to switch, you can go for Naukri and take that premium for 3 months. They'll update your resume, and then the calls will be getting like for a week at least 2 to 3. It will lead to the interviews accordingly. That's how I have searched, but I don't know about the other platforms. Naukri is the official one. That's where I have used it.
Ma'am?
If you want to switch
Hello, ma'am.
from if you want to switch the next year in June, try from now, so that you'll get to know like if it is if it got like if you got placed, it is good. If it is not, you'll get some experience. Like what is people asking, what the MNC is asking, what the startup is looking for. Go for roles and responsibilities, where you'll get to know like what to learn and what to not as a data analyst. Prior to 6 months, like start hunting for the job. You'll even if the interviewers don't hesitate or don't miss the interviews. Just go for it, and just as a demo or a free trial or what you'll call like experience, you'll get what they're asking or not. So you'll come to know like for our gym company, if you're getting to do like for that rehearsal should be there, no?
Ma'am? Hello, ma'am.
So you are
Hello, ma'am.
of what age, may I know? Like 23, 24, 21. You're college students, right? Final year students.
No,
So you
ma'am.
haven't tried for the campus placements, yeah? Otherwise, like you're
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, please, Atharva, tell me.
I had a question for ma'am. My name is Athro, ma'am. So what are the important tools for the data scientist? I mean, like as a student, what are the important tools?
What is the important tools for the data scientist?
That's right. For the data scientists, the important tool is for Jupyter Notebook or a collab where we'll code. In order to deploy it, like we need to learn cloud. If it is in a real time scenario, I'm saying, like there are so many APIs like REST APIs where you can deploy all our models. But when it comes to the client's project, like we need to work with the cloud, at least one cloud, and the tools for development is again it will be there in the cloud. If not cloud, there will be collab or Jupyter Notebook.
Thank you, ma'am.
That's all. You're saying something before Atharva asks. Ah, final year. There is restriction for developers, testers, but not for data scientists and data analysts and data engineers. That's what you want to like. There is restriction for everyone, but not this data science people. Nowadays, like data science hirings are more. There is no restriction for these roles. The main restriction happens from the last December to this June, right? June or July, 1 year. I've switched my location or I've switched my job in May itself, May or April. There is that's what I'm saying. Like there's so many openings for data scientists, data analysts, and data engineers. There is no restriction for them. So every week you'll be having classes, yeah? Every week, every day.
They're regular sessions they have, except Saturday and Sunday. Monday to Friday they have sessions. In between they have practice sessions and presentations. And this for the daily batches. SQL, Power BI, Python. Just you guys come with this PDF. They don't know about they can see only this small videos.
That's what they have. That's in the beginning.
Mostly companies are hiring experienced candidates.
That's what, like, it depends on your performance in the interview. Like, I am a machine learning engineer as a fresher. Like, there are some scenarios, like, people will say like that. If you have a talent, if you have more talents, if you perform very good, why they reject you? As a fresher, also, there are lots of openings. Even in my company, Quantify Analytics is a very good company for machine learning engineers, data engineers, and data analysts. If you are preparing to switch, like, go for it. They give a good pay as well as a fresher. Like find out these type of companies, Tiger Analytics, Quantify Analytics, and Predera Technologies. There are lots of startups will be there, which is completely based on data science domain. Search for it and go apply for it. Like if you have performed well, why don't they take? Your preparation should be like that, and you have to work hard for it in order to get into it. It's not an easy task as well. It's not that hard.
Sense. Right now, which tool you are using? Code?
In
You
Yeah, we have our own tool like a Vertex AI in GCP, like where we can deploy and develop the things for security purpose. Like in Predator Technologies, there is AIQ. If you go through it, like it's like more like a Vertex AI in GCP, like where we can develop, deploy, and pre-process the things. When you are entering to this real-time world, we are not anymore using this open source tools. We are going to get into this cloud, or somehow they have their own tool. We are not going to use anymore this Jupyter notebook or a Colab. They have their own Jupyter notebooks in their own server, but the interface is similar. But we are going to use that. Mostly startups will prefer for the cloud. My suggestion is ki, like if you have free time, if you are interested, go for any cloud. Like at least sit for half an hour, 45 minutes for a day for a cloud. Select for AWS. And previously AWS is a booming in cloud services. Now it is Azure. The names of it is different. That's it. The services are all similar. If you go for Google or Azure or AWS, AWS and Azure are very booming right now. You can learn any of those. You won't go for certification. If you want, you can go for it, but go through the Udemy courses where they'll say about the services, AWS and GCP. You get to know the things where you have to develop, deploy, and pre-process the things. There is every service. There is each and there are lots of services in cloud itself where you can utilize and use for our work in our day-to-day life.
Now, the data analyst work as a freelancer.
Yeah, it depends on individual. Yeah, you
But we
can.
get a chance to work.
Yeah, there are lots of opportunities there. No, in what is it, intern shala and means we you can't handle the work like while doing full time. You're asking while doing full time as a data analyst and freelancers for the data analyst. Only freelancer. You can work as a freelancer. You can search for freelancer jobs in intern shala and Naukri as well. You'll get it.
Hello, ma'am.
More advantage if you do a freelancing than you go for the job.
Advantage is the pay. Like they'll pay like.
You get an idea about
You get the exposure while you're working for the real-time projects and all. Like, if you're not interested to go with the Kaggle or any other data set, you can go for freelancing and explore the real-time projects there. But the deadline will be so less there.
in freelancing. Maybe explain what are the
Like a full-time only. Like they'll give the deadline, they'll explain the project, and you have to debug it within less time. That's what the freelancers do. And
there
also
will be some criteria, right? How they can give like
criteria and such.
they will examine like what you know and all like
They'll not treat you as a fresher anymore. It's not for your practice. They're paying, no. It's like a full time one. Like it's they'll see like you're pro. That's why they're decreasing the deadline. You have to be in a position to deliver it, not to get into freelancer. Freelancer is a tough job. Like if you're experienced of 5 to 6 years, then only you can debug that solution within 1 to 2 weeks. That's why they're paying 1 month salary within 1 week or 2 weeks.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah.
What are the certifications you will suggest as a for a data scientist student?
For data scientists, there is no certifications. Like we need to go through that Udemy courses and the Coursera. There will be no specific certification for a data scientist or a data analyst, or but there is specifications in the cloud. If you take GCP, the associate is the fundamental level, and for machine learning engineer, there is a Google Cloud certification for machine learning engineer, especially. There is a Google Cloud certification for data analyst, especially. There is a GCP, Google Cloud certification, especially for data engineer as well. There are specifications in the cloud where you'll get to know the services in that cloud for a data analyst or a data scientist. Or that's how there is a certifications for cloud, but as a data scientist for purely like a technical, there is no that certifications. Like we need to learn from some or other way. If we can see in job description, roles and responsibilities, like we only see like GCP certification needed and AWS certification needed, not particularly about this data analyst. They are asking for any other certifications. No, there will be no separate certifications for data analyst or a data engineer or data scientist. With respect to the cloud, there is, but especially for this, there are only courses. There is no certifications. We can only get certificate, not but not certification. There is a difference between certification and a certificate. If you do some course in the Udemy, you will get certificate. If you do some GCP cloud, or if you go through some AWS cloud, it is certification, which has more value.
Some of them have like cloud, they have a different background, so microbiology and BCom, so they may have less chances or no
Everyone is learning from scratch here. Even you are from the non-technical background, technical background. Even in the technical background means, in your view, it is a CSE, right? CSE only, right? CSE, IT. CSE people don't know about this analytics or engineer or data scientist. They won't teach this analytics in their BTech, right? In BTech or some whatever it is the course is. They won't teach. They are also learning from scratch. You are also learning from scratch. Then what makes you different?
In
so
the
I mean
interview, not get your qualification.
No, not enough.
they will provide a vendor only.
No, not really. Even like I said, no. I'm from the electronic background, electronics. I'm continuously applying for the jobs. Like they'll only say ki it's only for BTech. They won't mention the branches. Then we can't do anything. Like apply for it, go for it. If they call for the interview, it is good for you. It is not like bad for them. Like, yeah, if you work hard and if you perform very well in the interview, who gonna reject you? That's what I'm saying. Work hard for it. Like the jobs and description will be there, roles and responsibilities will be there. But if you are entering to the interview, like the performance speaks there. Even everything, like everyone is learning from the scratch. Even CSE student becomes student, BTech student is learning from the scratch. No difference. The thing is, they know about the coding earlier, but you not. In order to match them, you need to code at least 2 hours a day. That's how it should be.
Any questions online?
No, sir.
Yeah, it's fine. So go to your dashboard, and in your dashboard you have a schedule block. So under the schedule block, you can see this questionnaires and you can see this data set. So download this data set and download the questionnaires and complete your EDA part. Okay. Yeah.
Sir, we have only one PDF in dashboard.
Yeah, one PDF only. Wait, I'm sharing my screen. Okay. So left side, you have schedule block. The third one, you can open that schedule block. So here you can see data science hackathon. Okay, so under the data science hackathon you can see one CSV file and the questionnaires. Fine. So open that, download the CSV file. So first go through with the data set, so which type of features they are providing, and so go through with every feature and which type of data type is there. So already ma'am has explained, right? So go through with that.
Stop the screen share. Screen share from the
Yeah. Okay. You can see this data science hackathon under the schedule block. So open. So here you have problem statements. Next you have instructions. So you can use any tool or any module you can use. You can use Python, you can use Power BI, you can use Excel. So any module you can take to complete this job. And next here you have resources. So hit this button, you can see these resources. So CSV file you can see here. Fine. So download the CSV file. Okay. Next, after completing, submit your file here. Okay, .ip when we are PDF or Word file, anything it may be. So convert into and submit here. Fine. So
Okay, sir.
this is your questions. And already you have seen the solutions, right? Already complete this job as soon as possible. Okay. Any doubts online?
No, sir.
Yeah.
Close chasing.
So
So after the lunch, this hackathon will go into start. So please come back once you finish your lunch and then start it and submit by 4 o'clock.
okay, in this few questions for data science, okay, which is comes under training and testing. So you leave those questions, and which questions is suitable for you as a data analyst, you can complete those things. Fine. So that only 4 or 5 questions are training and testing things, and remaining questions you can easily solve. Okay. Normal questions only. Find out the distribution of student gender and column total score average. Okay. Visualize average distribution. Fine. So you can complete a few questions and just leave with the training and testing data science questions. Fine. And complete it, and after that upload. Fine. So if you don't have any doubt, you can leave online.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.